Hello, welcome back to my channel, Books with AR. The pen of immortal touch is a treasure filled with the power of the sun. Father collected 12 suns and turned them into 12 symbols that can be drawn with the pen. Its power is acceptable. Celestial capture net. Although this treasure is pretty average, the soul inside it seems to have gained some intelligence. It is very interesting, so I believe you will like it. As for the third treasure, it is best used with your Rain Celestial Sword. This treasure is called Spirit Sheath. Putting the Celestial Sword inside it can strengthen the Spirit Sword within. Father used the Origin Celestial Metal inside the Celestial Cleansing Pool to make it. As for the Celestial Spell, although it is a low-quality celestial spell and its power is ordinary, it is a very interesting spell. This spell is called the Stop Spell. Father found this on a mysterious planet by accident. Unfortunately, it wasn't complete, but Father was able to restore the spell after researching the spell. Father guessed that this was only part of a large combination spell. Unfortunately, what I found was incomplete, so I was unable to restore the entire combination spell. The excitement on Wang Lin's face gradually calmed down. The Jade was divided into 3 parts. The first part was a detailed description and instructions for 3 celestial treasures. There was no restriction on this part of the Jade, and it could be easily accessed. As for the other 2 parts, there were restrictions placed on them. When one tried to check them with their divine sense, there would just be chaotic images and words, making them unable to see everything. The second part had the method to create celestial guardians. The short old man was able to learn about the celestial guardians from seeing pieces of the second part. There was also this remark left in the Jade. Father placed a bloodline restriction on this Jade. Without your bloodline, it is impossible to break the restriction on this Jade. However, this Jade has existed for far too long, long enough that even with this person's powerful cultivation, it couldn't offset the passage of time. The restriction on the first section was gone, and the restriction on the second section had loosened greatly. Only the restriction on the last section was still completely intact. Of the 3 celestial treasures, I only see 2. The spirit sheath is not there. These items were given to a woman named Qin Shuang. If her name is Qin, then her father is Celestial Emperor Qin Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he whispered, "Celestial Emperor Qin Lin." After carefully looking at the Jade in his hand, Wang Lin began to ponder. Wang Lin closed his eyes. According to the tone of this Jade, this Qin Shuang was the Rain Celestial Emperor's daughter. She also had a weapon called the Rain Celestial Sword. He suddenly opened his eyes, and there was a burst of golden light. Rain Celestial Sword. Rain Celestial Sword. Could there be such a shocking coincidence in this world? Could the female corpse that Senior Zhou Yi was so infatuated with be Celestial Emperor Qin Lin's daughter? Wang Lin pondered a bit before slapping his bag of holding. The pagoda Zhou Yi gave him flew out. Before it could grow, Wang Lin's right hand made a seal and pointed at the pagoda. The corpse of the woman in white, who was so beautiful that she could make anyone's heart race, slowly flew out. Looking at the female corpse, Wang Lin began to ponder even more. His eyes lit up, then his 2 fingers formed a sword and waved it. A blade of wind flew out, and a red mark immediately appeared on her wrist. However, before blood could even flow out, that mark immediately disappeared and returned to normal. Wang Lin's expression remained the same, but his eyes became even brighter. With a thought, Ling Teng Ho's sword energy entered his fingers. He immediately waved his hand again, and another red mark appeared on the woman in white's wrist. Although it was still healing rapidly, this time it was obviously slower. A drop of red blood dripped down from the wound on the woman in white's wrist. Wang Lin retrieved Ling Teng Ho's sword energy, caught the drop of blood, and waved his sleeves, and the woman flew back into the pagoda. Then he put the pagoda back into his bag of holding. I only need to test it to see if you are really Qin Shuang. Wang Lin pressed the drop of blood on the Jade without any hesitation. When the drop of blood landed on the Jade, it immediately turned to red mist. The red mist gradually entered the Jade, then cracking sounds immediately came from the green Jade, and it lost a layer. A crystal clear green Jade with a thin red blood line appeared. Wang Lin couldn't be bothered to observe how beautiful this Jade was. He scanned it with his divine sense. Then he immediately sucked in a breath of cold air and began to ponder. The seal on the last two parts of this Jade were opened. She was actually Qin Shuang, Wang Lin sighed. His divine sense returned to the Jade to check the contents of the other two parts. Time slowly passed. Wang Lin had been immersed inside the Jade for an unknown amount of time. The short old man had awakened on the second day after Wang Lin became immersed with the Jade, but the three talent sword formations still surrounded him. Bursts of cold energy entered his body through the tips of the swords, making him not dare to move an inch. With his cultivation, he could vaguely see that the mystery of this formation wasn't in the swords themselves, but the mysterious force within them. On top of that, there was also Shu Li Guo watching him. Shu Li Guo casually floated around the old man and would occasionally reveal a cold smile. He would hold the black blade and wave it around before the old man. Several days later, Wang Lin's divine sense returned from the Jade. He opened his eyes and let out a long breath. These celestials are even more cruel than cultivators. The second part of this Jade had detailed records of making a puppet called the Celestial Guardian. This method isn't for celestials. It's meant to be used on cultivators. Cultivators were captured and refined. If it was successful, the resulting celestial guardian would be extremely powerful. According to the celestials, a celestial guardian wasn't a person, but a treasure. It was split between low, medium, and high quality. In the Jade, it was stated that a low-quality celestial guardian is equal to a peak late-stage ascendant cultivator, which is the limit of the first step. As for medium quality and high quality, I am unable to determine where they are in the second step. As for the third part of the Jade, it is a map. It looks like the topographic map of a cave. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he looked at the short old man. Wang Lin calmly said, "Hand it over." The short old man's face was filled with bitterness as he said, "You have all my bags of holding. What else do you want?" In his heart, he cursed, "This fellow named Wang is even worse than that cultivation couple. They only wanted one of my bags of holding, but this fellow named Wang doesn't want to leave me with anything." Wang Lin coldly looked at the old man and slapped his bag of holding. 10 pieces of broken jade flew out. These broken jades were the objects inside the 10 celestial guardians the old man had. After the old man saw the broken jades, his expression changed greatly. Wang Lin closed his right hand, and the 10 broken jades fused into one. After that, he reached out and he grabbed the old man. Then his palm hit the old man's forehead and knocked the old man's origin soul out of his body. The moment the old man's origin soul flew out, Wang Lin spat out a mouthful of origin energy and surrounded the old man's origin soul with it. As the old man was refined, the celestial spiritual energy inside his origin soul slowly condensed into a finger-sized broken jade. After retrieving the broken jade, the old man's origin soul was thrown out of the tower and devoured by the black cloud outside, becoming a soul fragment within. As for the old man's body, Wang Lin didn't even look at it as he waved his sleeves and the body turned into dust. One of the reasons for throwing it to the soul flag was that it would be a waste otherwise. After all, it was a late-stage soul transformation origin soul. The other reason was that Wang Lin was interested in the cave the old man had found. However, Wang Lin knew that this was not the time to leave. The most important thing right now is to use the remaining couple of decades to make his cultivation and magical treasures reach a new peak. He needed to be prepared for the 100-year agreement he had with the ancient demon. This was especially true for the 2 new treasures and the low-quality celestial spell he obtained. Thinking about the celestial spell, Wang Lin revealed a hint of excitement. This was a real celestial spell. All of the spells Wang Lin has learned in his life, aside from the celestial slaughter art, were created from imitating low-quality celestial spells. After all, celestial spells are simply too rare. Even people like the All-Seer had great desire for celestial spells, much less someone like Wang Lin. Celestial spells are real spells. These are powerful spells that are several times more powerful than normal spells. The demon spirit land attracted many cultivators and even caused them to be willing to slaughter and bow down to the natives, all for a chance to fuse with an ancient demon to learn a celestial spell. In order to obtain a celestial spell in the Heavenly Fate sect, one must hold the position of true disciple for countless years before being granted one. However, the All-Seer won't give the best one and choose an ordinary one. The stop spell. Wang Lin took a deep breath, and the chant for this celestial spell appeared in his mind. He slowly closed his eyes and immersed himself inside the celestial spell. Time silently passed, and in the blink of an eye, 20 years went by. The battle between the heavenly demon country and the fire demon country had lasted for a very long time. Both sides became more and more heated up as the war dragged on. The other countries couldn't hold it any longer and finally decided to attack. The ancient demon from the sky demon country already considered this problem when he decided to start the war against the fire demon country. As the rest of the countries were ready to make a move, he used his own power to seal Sky Demon City. As for the other cities of the Sky Demon country, the ancient demon completely gave them up. He only guarded the capital and the Dragon Lake while waiting for the agreement with Wang Lin. He was not afraid of Wang Lin going back on the agreement. If Wang Lin really backed out, he would use his ability to search high and low until he killed Wang Lin. He believed that Wang Lin was not so short-sighted. Under this situation, the soul refining tribe quickly expanded and strengthened itself. In the past several decades, in the battlefields in the Fire Demon country, there were these mysterious people in black that gradually caught the attention of the two sides. These black-robed people would often appear on battlegrounds to absorb a large amount of soul fragments and take a lot of life with them. At the same time, each of them had killed countless enemies on the battlefield, and they all had outstanding performance. The demon soldiers that grew stronger rapidly in both armies were promoted to replace the dead generals.